Well, my friends, Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa Stringworks Man Cave. Well, we had our play along last night. I hope you were able to catch some of that. I thought it went fairly well. It was all original songs that I have written, and it seemed to go over fairly well. I don't know how many people saw it. I didn't look to see the number of views, but I suspect it was fairly low. I mentioned last night in the play along that I've had vertigo since Monday, and it wasn't really very bad. Even when I was climbing the ladder to put those houses up, I had vertigo, but it wasn't like it is today. Or even last night. I almost canceled last night because the vertigo, it was uncomfortable. But as long as I don't move too fast and stay fairly still, it's not horrible. But there's like a pressure in my head with it, and I've been checking, my blood pressure, and I recently, what was it maybe it was 2 weeks ago, Friday, I was at the doctor, and he did the blood tests, and all the blood tests came back, and every single category was really just perfect. You can't, there was nothing there to cause alarm. I've checked my blood pressure, and it's good, so it's just vertigo. I suppose it's left over from when I had the Meniere's disease in my left ear. I never had vertigo up till that time, and during the time that I had the Meniere's disease, not that you ever get over it, you never really do kind of get over it, but it healed a lot, and it got lots better, and then the vertigo kind of eased up when it got better, but during the time I had the Meniere's disease, the vertigo was horrendous. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. It sounds like you'd have to be exaggerating to say that the room was spinning like this fast. I mean, it's like literally that fast. It was a blur. It was just like the room was spinning around you. It was unbelievable. And I would grab my chair because you feel like you're falling. This is not that severe, but it's enough that it makes you pretty uncomfortable. It's almost nauseating. But anyway, I didn't do very much this morning because of that. I was going to go down there and try to make adapters for my mini excavator for that new thumb that I put on. But then I got to thinking that's probably not a good idea to make those adapters until those new parts come in, because I have a feeling the new ones are going to be a little different than the ones I've used in the past. I have a feeling the threads might be different. So I thought it's probably better just to wait anyway. So this morning, all I did was this. Take a look. Well, it's chilly out here this morning, but I wiped off each one of these entrances and then taped them over. Unfortunately, the tape's not sticking all that great. It sticks pretty good on these flat ones. Like this, it sticks pretty good. But on the round ones, I painted them and used silicone caulk around them, and it just doesn't stick very well. But at least it's on there, and we'll give it a shot and see if that fixes the sparrow problem. And hopefully it won't be too hard to get that off whenever the martins show up. I don't think it will be. But regardless, there it is. That's the way it turned out, and it was a good idea somebody suggested. I don't know why I didn't think of the tape myself. I just, when I see a hole, stuff something in it, so I stuffed plastic bags in there. And that was good too. It worked, but I think this might be better. So we'll see. Time will tell. Yep, time will tell. So I hope if the tape stays on, I think it'll work just fine. I'm just not sure it's going to stay on. That's really all I have for today, other than to mention that my grandsons are coming from Ohio. They should be here within the next couple hours, I would think. And it's aggravating to me that I feel the way I do, because I really like to spend time with them and take them out on the farm and have a good time. But right now, I don't feel like doing that, but I don't know. It's aggravating because they don't get to come all that often. Ronald Todd says, good afternoon from the West Banks in New Jersey. Joe Cool says, hope your afternoon is awesome as you are. Well, that's nice of you to say. I don't feel real awesome right now. Bill Rhodes says, good afternoon. B.H. Ringer says, from afternoon from Nova Scotia. And Wavy Gravy says, the Kramers next door had a gas explosion in their kitchen. It blew them out the door into the street. The newspaper said it was the first time the Kramers had been out together in 15 years. That's about like me and Sue. It just about fits perfect. Kim Z from Arizona. And let's see. He says, prayers for Dottie at her doctor's appointment. Boy, isn't that the truth. She'd been going through it. I hope it all goes real well. And Rod Wentler says, if you have got to have vertigo, it was a good thing you didn't show up while you were up on top of that ladder. Well, actually it did. I mean, I knew I had vertigo when I went up the ladders, but it wasn't bad enough. As long as I don't do anything crazy, then it's not that big a deal. But if I start bending my head sideways or something like that, like even just that little bit of movement right there was enough you have to be kind of keep your head still. It's I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's just aggravating. Paul Lanier, prayers for your complete audience today. Well, that's good. And Gino Hitch says, hi, Jerry and friends. The sun is shining, and it's beautiful here. Hope everyone's having a great day. Kim Z says, sorry if you're not feeling well. Well, I don't feel too terribly bad. It's just very annoying. It's way worse when you get, sick or cold or flu or something like that. It's way worse than this, but this is just irritating, aggravating. It's kind of like the tinnitus. It's aggravating. It's not like it's debilitating. It's just real aggravating. Wavy Gravy says, I was sitting next to a guy in a bar when he said, my parents were always high when I was a kid. I said, oh, a couple of full-time stoners, huh? And he said, no, they were full-time Sherpas. Yeah, well, those Sherpas, they must be a different breed of people because they're able to climb most of those things up there, those high altitudes without oxygen. I honestly think I could do that. I really do. Based on just what little bit of experience I've had in the mountains, everybody's always breathing heavy and out of breath, and it doesn't bother me at all. Kim Z says 71, cloudy today. I think it's going to rain. We're pretty sunny out there right now. I have to make sure I don't go too fast when I do that. Paul Akers says, hey all, Michael 2X, Rosa Meister, thank you. Let's see, Bill Mumbo, hi you folks, and then Kim Z, I had fun last night, thank you. Well, good, thank you. And there's Bo Horn, he says, hey Jerry and gang, as my grandmother used to say, it's none of my business, but Jerry, you probably need to see an ear, nose, and throat specialist. Yeah, wouldn't hurt nothing, I guess. And Kim says, you think you're having ear issues. Well, that's for sure. That's for sure. I agree with that. Scott Ski 54 says, I wouldn't wish vertigo on my worst enemy. I feel your pain. I finally self-diagnosed and discovered my meds were causing mine. Diuretic pills went bye-bye along with the vertigo. Well, I'm fairly certain mine's, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm still fairly certain mine's from when I had the Meniere's disease. That Meniere's disease, I've told this several times before. Maybe you haven't heard it, but I woke up one morning. This was about 8 or 10 years ago. I don't remember exactly when, but I woke up. I was sleeping on the couch because I can't lay down in a bed. So I get up. I have to move a lot. That's why I sleep sitting up in the chair, because if I sleep sitting up, I can sleep pretty much all through the night. But if I lay down, I get the arthritis gets to aching so bad and it hurts my ribs, my back, spine, everything. So anyway, this particular night I had gotten up a couple times, and finally I laid down on my side on the couch, and I could hear it raining. I was actually laying on this side. I could hear it raining outside. It was early in the morning at this point. And so then the pain started in again. So I thought, well, I'll switch sides. So I rolled over and got on my left side, and all of a sudden the rain stopped. I didn't hear any more rain and noise out there. I thought, what is that? So I raised up and I could hear it. I put my head back down. I couldn't hear it at all. So what had happened, well, actually it was this way. I put my head on this way. I couldn't hear it at all out of this ear, because my left ear is the one that had the Meniere's disease. Went completely deaf overnight in my left ear. I mean, completely deaf. Couldn't hear anything. You could have shot a shotgun next to that ear and I wouldn't have been able to tell it. And so, of course, I did go to the doctor with that, a couple of audiologists and stuff, and they're the ones that put me on all that medicine. And like I said, during that time, the vertigo was just totally debilitating. You couldn't do anything. I have never seen anything like it. I just can't even imagine anybody having it that severe. It was just horrible. This is like nothing compared to that. But this is just enough to kind of make you feel yucky, But I'm sure it's a leftover from that, because I never did completely lose vertigo after that. Like if I get I get down under something and look up, it'll get me dizzy, Now, there's exercises that help with vertigo a little bit. What happens with Meniere's disease is there's supposedly, according to the audiologist, there's 3 different kinds of fluid that are in your ears. And with Meniere's disease, those membranes break or something, and all 3 fluids mix together. And that's what causes the mess. Well, anyway, there's also little, things floating in that fluid, and they can mess with those hairs in your ear or whatever it is that keeps you from having vertigo. Well, anyway, they get to messing with that. So there's these exercises that you can do, and like, for instance, I'll give you an example. Like if on my left side over here, so I would turn like this, you're sitting on the edge of a bed, and you have a pillow behind you. And so that when you lay back, it'll arch your back and your head will be lower than your stomach, for instance. So you turn your head this way first, then you lay all the way back with your head still turned that way, full turn. And then you roll your head from this side while it's behind you like that and lower than your belly. You roll it really slow over all the way to your right. And then you roll over on your right side, keeping your head turned as much as you can, and then you sit back up. And that moves those flakes and things that are floating in that fluid out of harm's way. Now, the good news is it actually does work. I've done it twice this morning. It seemed to help a little tiny bit. But it also can make it 10 times worse. If you do it the wrong way, if you turn, because then you have to do it the other side. If it doesn't work when you do it one way, then you need to do it exactly opposite. And, you can actually fix it or make it way worse. I have had luck with it where I do that exercise and it's just like you flip a switch and it just goes away. Don't have any more problem. And then I've done the exercise where it got 5 times worse. I mean, like, it just makes it so bad you can't stand it. So I have to be fairly careful when I do it. But so far today, I've been doing it from this side rolling it that way, and it hasn't made it any worse. It seemed to make it just a little tiny bit better. So anyway, in case you're having vertigo, you can find those exercises online if my explanation didn't make sense to you. But it does help. Or it can help. It might make it worse too. So just be aware of that. Let's see. Well, there's a few comments came in here, and I got to find it. Oh my gosh, and more comments than I thought. Let's see. All right, so Lady Cajun says, thumbs up, please. Yes, if you would do that, I'd appreciate it. Paul Akers says, how did you modify that tire changer, beefed it up? Well, okay, maybe I should just do a video and show you a bit, but that, first of all, that little star thing on the top, where it's a circle with 4 fingers coming off, and that circle gets pressed down when you screw that big long tube on, and that presses down and holds the wheel. Well, that thing was made out of really flimsy metal, so I welded that up and made it stronger. I think I kept the original as kind of the guts, but I just beefed it up and added extra steel to all the parts. So that I made that piece a lot stronger. That was the first thing I did. The second thing I did was, the deal you push down and it breaks the tire off the bead, with that long rod. You stick the rod in there and you press down. Well, both of those, the 2 runners on each side that come down that press on the tire, those 2 arms or whatever you want to call it, those little 2 pieces of metal, they were real flimsy. So I welded a piece of angle iron on both of those. And it's a small angle iron, like an inch type angle iron, but it's a heavier steel than they were even made out of. So I welded that up solid so that can't bend anymore, because that would actually bend. And I don't know, seemed like there might have been one more thing I did. Those are the 2 things I did for sure. Those were the 2 flimsiest parts. Let's see. Michael 2X, scopolamine patch for motion sickness may help the vertigo. Never heard of that one. Sue went to town. She's going to bring back some more Dramamine or something like that, whatever that stuff's called. And I have some. I took 2 this morning, but they were an off-brand type, and I don't know if they're any good or not, but I didn't seem to feel anything better or worse after taking those. But scopolamine, I've never heard of that one. I'm going to write that down. Okay, and let's see. Joe, yep, sometimes I think we need an on-off switch. I have high cholesterol and now swollen right shoulders. Woo. Well, on my blood tests and all that, everything came back perfect. I mean, like, you couldn't hardly, if they're like it was all on a line graph type deal, and like in the middle it was green and then it's red, I guess, or whatever. And anyway, I was pretty much right dead center green on almost everything. So, I mean, there was a couple of them on the edge of the green, but they were all in the green. Wade Hampton, good afternoon, Jerry and friends from Glendale, Arizona. It's a cool, overcast day, and I'm loving it, believe it or not. But there is something oddly depressing about 350 sunny days a year. Yeah, I don't know how that, I don't know. I don't think Sue would find that depressing. I do not think she would. She gets so depressed here in the wintertime, especially on a cloudy day or whatever, and the cold. It just drives her crazy. And he says, and arthritis, of course. That's that Joe up there about the high cholesterol and shoulder. Yeah, well, I got a few issues. The high cholesterol, that's never been a problem. And the odd thing about that is, everything I eat should give you high cholesterol because I eat lots of eggs. And of course red meat and all that kind of stuff. Pretty much everything I eat, they say is bad for you. Pretty much everything. Skotsky 54, wavy gravy. I used to get high on the job all the time and used a lot of white dope. I was running sprinkler lines in a mill from a man lift and using pipe dope thread sealant. And that would be a lot funnier if I could just read it. Wavy gravy. Sean was helping Seamus on the roof when he got dizzy. I gotta go home. I'm awful dizzy, says Sean. Have you got vertigo? Asks Seamus. And Sean says, no, I just live around the corner. Let's see. Skotsky says, these advertisement videos popping up in the stream are driving me nuts. Okay, it's not actually a drive. It's more like a short putt. Well, I'm sorry, but they do help me out, unfortunately, for you. I just being clear, I've got it as restricted as I can have it and still have videos. And still have some ads to make revenue. But I do have it restricted, very much so, in fact, compared to your average YouTuber, I would say. Joe Everett says, I got an adjustable bed and no longer have to sleep in a chair. It's worth the investment. Yeah, I adjust mine an awful lot during the night. I think that would drive Sue crazy if we had that type of thing. But anyway, Joe says, balance canals in your ears. Okay. Gary Hayden says, I had a terrible case of vertigo several years ago, and after extensive testing, an eye, ear, nose specialist diagnosed it as being caused by a virus that had already gone, but the vertigo remained. Well, I kind of think that's how mine got here, was with the Meniere's disease thing. I never had vertigo, not one single time ever in my whole life until the Meniere's disease. And that pretty much ruins your ears. Matter of fact, most people that have Meniere's disease end up with tons of hearing loss. And as I mentioned to you, I could tell that medicine was about to kill me. It was bad, man. The medicine they had me on. And I went off that medicine, and the very next day, my hearing came back. Just came back. It was like, I don't feel like I've hardly lost anything. I did lose some highs, some of the real highs. But other than that, my left ear is pretty good hearing. And that's amazing after Meniere's disease, especially as bad as I had it. Most people get it in one ear. Some people do get it in both ears. I know a friend of mine had it in both ears, and he's lost a lot of hearing. He's got hearing aids and everything. So I feel very, very fortunate. Like I said, on the big things in life, I don't think there's anybody luckier than me. GMP Old Marine Shop. Jerry, you have any experience with tube amplifier repair? I've been in on, I've worked on them and stuff, but no, I don't think I have any expertise to really offer there. I'll tell you who does, though. Old Leon, he's an electrical engineer, and in fact, my amp for the band, my small amp, I have a small 4-channel amp that we would use for the small gigs and things, and it quit working, and he completely took it apart and repaired it, and had to solder in. Of course, it's not a tube amp. It's a transistor type amp. But anyway, he took that apart and fixed it. He's very good with electrical stuff. Leon is. But if it's obvious, I can fix it. But I don't know that when I take something like that apart, if I look at it and I see an obvious problem, well, then I'll buy the component and fix it. But on something like that, I probably wouldn't say I know that much about it. Guy Bros 1200 says, "Hey Jerry, I had a roofing biz in New York, retired here in Florida, or roofing business, I guess. In 2000, I had a bad stroke. Now can't go higher than 10 feet or look up. Have such bad vertigo." Wow. Well, God bless you. Sorry about that, guy. I wish you well. Hope everything goes good for you on that. It's terrible. You know, old age just ain't for the young at heart, is it? You got to be pretty tough to get old. Simon Jardine. "Hi, Jerry. Guess where I got a job? The UK version of Home Depot." Being multi-skilled like you, I have advice people on lots of different home projects. I love it. I hope this one lasts. Well, that's good. I hope it does too. That's really cool. I think I'd be a natural at a place like that. In fact, I don't think I'd ever be able to take a break because everybody'd be on me like, how do you do this? How do you do that? I pretty much, like our local stores, I never, and I mean like never, ask for help, because anybody that's going to help me, I already know more than they do, and it's just not worth it. And I pretty much got the stores memorized and know exactly where everything is in the stores, so it doesn't do me any good to ask for help in most of those places. Simon Jardine. "I'm sick and tired of short-term agency work. So is my wife." Yeah, well, that's good. I hope it works out for you. I would enjoy work. If I had to have a job, that's probably where I would go, would be to a place like that, because I would enjoy that. I mean, it wouldn't be real work for me. I'd enjoy doing that. GMP Old Marine Shop. "I found an Ampeg Gemini 2 at the curb. I'm restoring it somewhat." Cool. Well, I hope you get that to work. That'd be great. For what it's worth, if I was going to do that, I'd be using Grok a lot. I'd be saying, because if you can be very specific and say, you know, this circuit board, you know, and you give it the number of the circuit board or whatever, you know, it doesn't seem to be, you know, what could be the problem? Or like if you see something or get any clues and you can feed them to Grok, it'd probably tell you exactly how to fix it. I'm very impressed with Grok. It's pretty crazy. Seems to be even getting better all the time. So anyway, guys, thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. By the way, because I couldn't go out and work, I stayed in here and worked on video this morning, and I got, I don't know, a little over a third of the next video edited. It's the gun stock video. It'd be part 4. I'm building a trigger guard, and I think I get started on the checkering in part 4. I'm not sure how far I'm going to go with this yet, but anyway, it's in the process. I don't know if I'll get it out for this weekend or not. I would like to, but the odds are it might not get out till early next week, because the boys are going to be here too, and if I can, I'm going to be spending a lot of time with them. So y'all take care. We will see you on Monday, if not before.